Alright, we're going to see how we can use pip in our project. So pip is a package manager for Python, and it allows us to install our project's dependencies. How it works is it connects the Python package index, which is an online repository with Python packages. And we can see that here. So if you Google Python package index, that's what this is. Click on it, and this has all the external Python packages we might need. So an example of that would be pandas, if you've ever used pandas, or perhaps we want to use NumPy, which we will do in this video, or perhaps we want to use request. So they're all in this online repository. That's what pip connects to. And without further ado, let's see how we can use pip. So to first see how it works and why we would need it is we'll create a file. So we'll create a file and we'll call it array.py. And so in this file we're going to use NumPy, which so NumPy is a Python library used for working with arrays. So it can do array addition, it can find the square root, find the mean of all the elements in the array, and it's not included with the Python standard library. In the Python standard libraries included with your default Python installation, so that'll be things like the time library or I think the math library. So NumPy isn't included in that. So we can prove that we can import NumPy as np, and that'll be the alias for NumPy, np, it's just easier. And we can create an array equals numpy.array, that's how you use NumPy. And we're going to pass this an array of, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what we can do with NumPy is we can do mean value. So this will find the mean value of the array. We do numpy.mean of our array, and we will simply print the mean value. Now, I'm not a huge math guy, but the array, or the mean of this array should be 3. That's just the number in the middle. Cool, so if we run, let's see, we gotta save the file. So if we run array.py, it should just print 3, but let's run it and see what happens. So we get a traceback. This was expected, so it says module not found error. So we don't have NumPy. Python, our installation right now, does not know what NumPy is. Okay, so what we're going to want to do is create a Python virtual environment. And we're going to do this because we could install NumPy straight on our global Python installation, but that could cause some weird dependency issues or some conflicts with other packages. So what we should do is use a virtual environment, which will be our own little isolated Python installation for our project. And how we do this is we can do python -mvn for virtual environment, and then we name it. So you can name it whatever you want. I'll do my venv, and this will create our virtual environment. And we can see it's right here, but we haven't activated it yet. So to activate it, we do source my venv -bin -activate. And now when you see this, that means we are now using the my virtual environment, that Python installation. So the next thing we want to do is install NumPy. So we can do pip install NumPy. Give it a second, and it says successfully installed NumPy. Great. So if we do that same command as earlier and run our code, now we should see the mean value, which will be 3. Great, so NumPy is installed. However, using pip to install each new library can be tedious, especially if somebody clones our project. We have 50 dependencies. They probably don't want to do pip install NumPy, pip install request. They don't want to pip install 50 times manually. That would be a little tedious. So that is why we will set up piprex. So what piprex is, it's a Python library that will create the requirements text file. And that's a file that stores all the information about the project's dependencies, the version, whatever. So we can use this to install all dependencies at once, or most likely a user using our project can just install everything in the requirements.txt all at once. So we can avoid the individual pip install whatever. So how we can do this is, first we'll have to pip install piprex. Piprex. Give it a moment. Cool. Now that piprex is installed, we are going to want to be in the root of our project. So this is the root right here. And we're going to do piprex // which means everything in this directory forward. Ignore. We don't need to install any dependencies in our virtual environment, so we just ignore it in this line. And if we press enter, it says successfully saved requirements file and requirements.txt. Cool. So if we list, we see requirements.txt, and what this should contain is NumPy and the version of NumPy we used. So if we open up requirements, there it is, NumPy 1264. So we already have NumPy installed, but if you want to use the requirements text file to install, because this can have 50 or 100 or however many lines of dependencies in this, and to install all of it at once, we can do pip install -r requirements.txt. And so we already have NumPy installed, but if you didn't have NumPy installed, or if there's a bunch of other things in it and you don't have it installed, you just run this command, you install all at once. Super easy.